Okay, let's continue. Uh, this is a part two, the advanced detail for the resource. And we are going uh, with more details on how you can define resource inside of the Microsoft project. During the part one of our discussion, we had a review on the resource sheet and the fields available on this sheet and how you can define information inside of this field, this sheet. Okay, if you double click on resource, if you double click on a resource or right click on a resource and select information, a new pop-up page open for you, which is resource information. It has four tabs: general, costs, notes, and custom fields. Notes is exactly same as notes for tasks that we discussed during the lesson 2. Okay, you can put the information, extra information, copy link, hyperlink, even insert document, PDF, Word, different object inside of for each resource. For example, you can put the contract of the resource here, but I do not recommend because it will increase the size. I mean the file. If you import the file, if you copy paste the text, it's fine. If you put the whole document, PDF file, image inside of the Microsoft project file, it will increase the size of the project file, MPP file, and it can create a problem for you when you want to load the file or transfer the file. Okay, so I do not recommend that, but you can use the notes tab for more extra information regarding the resource you have. Okay, custom field also uh, put it aside, okay, for now, because later when I explain you the data structure inside of the Microsoft project, same as the task, okay. So when I explain that, and when we discuss about the custom fields, you will see how you can use it here. Okay, but first two tabs. Tab 1, okay, the resource name, we already know resource name. Email address, okay, you can define an email address. If the Microsoft project is connected to Active Directory and Microsoft Project Server, then you can this resource can be a specific Active Directory user account. Okay, this one is for that one. Then you have initials, group, code. These three we already discussed, right? Booking type, you have two options: proposed, committed. Okay, proposed, committed. It's by default it's committed. If the booking type of a resource is proposed, it means that you define a resource in Microsoft project, but you are not, for example, you are not allowed to use that resource later for resource assignment. You you don't have a permission to use that resource. It is not affecting on calculation, only during the resource automatic leveling, which we'll cover later. But generally, it is not something that affect your normal calculations inside of the Microsoft project. But it can be helpful for reporting. For example, you have 10 different resources in your project, but you are not sure, for example, if you allow to use two of them. Okay, but you don't want to you still want to define them, plan for them, and try to get the permission from management to use them. So maybe for reporting purpose, or you to keep it in your mind that two of your resources are proposed and not committed yet, you can use this field. Okay, then type, we already discussed about type. Label, it will be available if the material type is, if the resource type is material, then you can define the label we already covered. A generic budget, okay, budget, we are going to have a separate session for budgeting. You can ignore it for now, we don't use it now. The generic, the we will you can use it for the reporting purpose. For example, Mustafa is a specific person on your project. It is not generic. Engineering team is generic. Okay, you can use it for reporting. Then you have inactive, active. At the moment it's inactive. You cannot select it. Then we have change working time here, but as I said, I prefer not use it here. Even here it's same. I prefer to create separate calendar and assign it directly here and not use this option. Here it's important point, availability. Okay, again I'm showing something to you, but we will, let me view task here, other, no, let me go to chart. That resource graph. Okay, resource graph, this one, maybe I can use this one, allocated or allocated, no, Gantt chart, split, then let me, don't worry about what I'm doing here. I will explain you later on other sessions. Now, okay, now it's a little bit better. Okay. Okay. Or maybe let me directly explain. It may confuse you later because you don't know. I didn't explain you those points that I was showing. Maybe it's better I move back. By the way, if you right click here, there is a view bar. You can, it's a shortcut for some important views if you want to use, but I will show it to you later anyway. Let's move back to resource availability. By default, you have one record, NA to NA, available to 5 units. Remember, we defined, for example, let me change Mustafa to 1. Let's say engineering team 3, okay, max unit 3, right? If I double click on engineering team, on resource information, general tab, resource availability section, I can see by default there is a record NA to NA unit 3, right? It's same. But you may say you have a case that engineering team is not available. The availability of the engineering team is not 3 resource, is 3 for a specific time. For example, from NA means beginning, okay, beginning, till I can say end of April, I have 3 available resources, okay? But from 1st of May till end of May, I have only 1, okay? And again, after end of May, 1st of June to NA, I have again 3. If you define like this, you cannot see it here because here it is keep showing 3, right? The max unit for this resource is still 3. But if let me change project information, the current date. The current date, if I change the current date to middle of the May, see, it is automatically updated to 1, okay? This one is because of this, okay? Basically, the concept here is you can define, I think if I remember correctly, I don't remember how many, but you can define a lot of levels, a lot of records here. And remember, the important point is if I put a date here, let's say 1st of April, okay, 1st of April, then before the 1st of April, the availability of this resource will be 0. Just remember this point. And same for the end. If you put a specific date for the end, available to, okay, then after that date, availability of that resource is 0, okay. You may have this case. You may say, okay, on my project, after that specific date, which is a deadline, I don't have this resource anymore. So you do not put NA for that case. You put a specific date and unit will be 0. So till that specific date, you have the available resource. After that, 0. Okay. But when you put NA, it means there is no end. Okay. This one should be clear. Then the cost tab, the interesting part. On this tab, you have subsections: tab A, tab B, tab C, tab D, tab E. Tab A, the default one, is reading the information. You put it here. Let me put 10, 5, for example, engineering. Okay. Okay, tab A, it is reading standard rate, overtime rate. Okay. But you can also define other tabs, B, C, D, E. You cannot rename these tabs, but you can have, let me, even with different rate. $20. It is one, let's say $10 per week. Okay. But important for you is, what does it mean? Let's say I have a consultant, and this person is an expert, and if I want to use it for different type of work, he is going to charge me with different price. So the basic concept here is one resource can have different price based on the different type of activity. Okay, that's the concept here. So if engineering is doing a work type A, the cost is calculating based on this information. If the engineering team is doing work B, the cost is this way. Okay, but you cannot define more than 5. Okay, remember this point. And also remember, we are defining. We didn't assign anything yet. Okay, we didn't link this to any task yet. We will do it later during the resource assignment session. Okay, for now, what we are just defining. If I want to use, so at the end, if I want to use engineering on a task that require the skill A, let's say a skill, but it's better. A skill A, it will charge $10 per hour. If I want to use engineering team with the skill B, it requires $20 per hour. Okay. Now, also, you have an option to set an effective date and increase or decrease this value. For example, let's say engineering team is telling me that, okay, our rate is $10 per hour, okay, but after maybe at the end of June, our rate increased to $20 per hour. Okay. Let's say this is a case that this engineering team is mentioned on their contract. So if they work, if after at the end of June, the cost of these resource increase. If I want to use the resource on my project for the activity, the cost of resource increase after end of June. So I mean, it's important for me that I try to plan activities that link to the engineering team to finish before end of June. If a task delayed for some reason and move to after the June, then it will increase the cost of project for me. Okay. Another case, for example, the management is coming and saying this project is very important, it should finish by end of July. If by end of July this project is not finished, you are dead to me. It's very bad for our company, and I'm going to put a penalty for everyone, and I'm going to, let's say, June, July. After the end of July, I will reduce your, let's say, minus, let me see how I put it, minus 80% and press OK. Minus 80% and press OK. So after this date, for every hour, engineering team costs 4 hours, $4. Okay, just an example to show you how you can define them. And for each one you have per use cost. It's exactly same as cost per use. Okay, this one. And also for each skill, for each tab, you can have different cost accrual, prorated, start, end. You can change it. You cannot change it for each record here separately, but you can. It's linked to the tab. Each tab can have a separate one. Okay, and I believe we covered all the important points here for resources. Let me double check if I missed anything. No. I believe we covered all the important points to define resources inside of the Microsoft project.